So I suppose I could have done this right from the beginning. There's a couple of videos on the YouTubes that don't show exactly what I was after on this one. Old parts, some new parts, passenger side's already done. I'm going to walk through a couple things here. What I was doing today was I was changing out the spindle, the hub, the bearing assembly, and brake job. We've got a whole whack of new parts behind me there. Most of them are already installed. You can see I was a little ruthless with the way that I pulled this all off. You should pull off this 30 mil 12-point socket or crown nut first. Fancy socket for that guy. Use this guy, big heavy guy. And what else we got here? When you're popping the bearing apart, a spindle comes out with it if you really want to screw around, but these bolts do not clear your ABS ring if you just try to pull it all out like this. So these bolts here, which are not supposed to be reused, it was about $50 Canadian to get 8 new ones, just under that. But these are not supposed to be reused. You torque them to 44 pound-feet. And like I say, if you back them all out, you can get this whole assembly off without removing your hub, the hub assembly with the wheel bearing. You can get all that off. You just have to back them off evenly at the same time. Well, not at the same time, but back them all off together, a little bit each around until they're all the way off, and it will come off. These crown nuts are sold separately, I have found out. So I needed to pop it apart and salvage my old crown nuts anyways. The ABS sensor, or wheel speed sensor as it's sometimes called for the rear, they're very, very, very expensive when you buy them somewhere locally, like a dealership, or what we have here is like Lordco or Auto Parts, Auto Value, stuff like that. Very, very, very stinking expensive. They're like 20 bucks for a Bosch, or $22 for a Bosch on Rock Auto. Pay the shipping, don't screw around. I understand supporting local, but I mean, I was quoted $400 for the one sensor. Don't buy local for stupid things like that you can just get on Rock Auto. The rest of this stuff, sure, support local. It's not going to be a huge difference. Like I said, we are doing calipers and everything. While I'm still got this exposed and talking about this crown nut, you torque to 129 pound-feet. So 44 for these guys in the back, 129 for this guy, and then I go about 95 for my lugs. Avoid the kucha or chugga torque guns. Those things will just rip them apart. So another thing, if you are going with new and not reman, well, actually I'm not sure about the remans, but if you are going with new, I know that the pistons come fully depressed. You need to slide the hanger back towards the piston side of the caliper in order to get the little metal slider tabs in there, and then also you can push it back a little bit to help get your front pad in, your outside pad in, once you get the piston side pad set in there properly. You are supposed to use new bolts here as well to hold your caliper on. I was unable to get some for right now, so I'm going to reuse the old ones, and I have some on order. Same, like I say, with the wheel speed sensor. I'm just going to leave that unplugged and deal with the check engine light for right now, because that's what I'm going to have to do until those sensors get in.